As a follow-up to the Apkallu connection, let's talk about the mark of Cain and his children. And the mark of Cain is very odd, especially looking at it in its correlation with the ancient Mesopotamian myths. We already established that Cain was a worker of the ground. His brother Abel, he kept sheep. He was a shepherd. God has respect for Abel's sacrifice, but not Cain's, which leads into the first murder. It's kind of crazy that we're only one generation from Adam and Eve, and already there's a murder. Well, I suppose if Adam or Eve, either one of them were to off the other, they wouldn't have any sons, and we wouldn't have this story. And God tells Cain, since you spilled your brother's blood onto the ground, this is your curse. From now on, when you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. So God drives Cain out from the land and says, a fugitive and a vagabond shall you be. You'll just be a wanderer on the face of the earth. Cain says to God, if you drive me from the land today, from your presence, from your face, I will be hidden. And it'll happen that anyone that finds me will kill me. God says, no, I'm going to give you a mark, a sign, a token of 7. For anyone who kills Cain, they will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Then it literally says that God put a mark on Cain, gave him an oath, a sign, so that no one that finds him shall kill him. And I wonder, what on earth could this oath be? This sign, this mark that was put on Cain. Let's take a look at what he does first. It says that he dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain then had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. Then Cain built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methushael, and Methushael begot Lamech. Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah, and Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who played the harp and the flute. And as for Zillah, she bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. There are a number of Masonic manuscripts that are important in the study of the emergence of Freemasonry. Most numerous are the Old Charges or Constitutions. These documents outlined a history of Masonry, tracing its origins to a biblical or classical root. It would seem that Cain's children do everything but till the ground. Jabal was the father of those who lived in tents and raised livestock, and Jubal was the father of those that played harps and flutes, music. Whatever the mark was, it didn't seem to slow Cain down at all. He builds a city and names it for his son Enoch. The children of Enoch seem to follow suit. They can't plant crops anymore because the earth won't yield any. So what do? Raise livestock. Then, hey, now what do? Let's play some music. Then we're told Zillah also had a son named Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain was a craftsman, an instructor, and he made tools of bronze and iron. And if all that isn't strange enough, Genesis chapter 4 verse 23 says that Lamech said unto his wives, I just killed a man that hurt me. For if Cain is avenged 7-fold, then me 70 times 7. The Freemasonic connection to all this, again, is very strange. Of course, it came much later on. But this is about knowledge and skills. Remember, the Apkallu are craftsmen. Freemasonry claims to get their roots, which means they inherited this knowledge and this skill set that was acquired by Cain and his children. Let's lean into that a little bit, see what kind of insight they can give us on the subject. The Matthew Cook manuscript is the second oldest of the old charges or Gothic constitutions of Freemasonry, the oldest known set of charges to be written in prose. It contains some repetition, but compared to the Regius, there is also much new material, much of which is repeated in later constitutions. After an opening Thanksgiving prayer, the text enumerates the 7 liberal arts, giving precedence to geometry, which it equates with masonry. There follows the tale of the children of Lamech, expanded in the book of Genesis. Jabal discovered geometry and became Cain's master mason. Jubal discovered music, and Tubal-Cain discovered metallurgy and the art of the smith, while Lamech's daughter, Naamah, invented weaving. Discovering that the earth would be destroyed either by fire or flood, they inscribed all their knowledge on 2 pillars of stone, one that would be impervious to fire and one that would not sink. Generations after the flood, both pillars were discovered, one by Pythagoras and the other by philosopher Hermes. The 7 sciences were then passed down through Nimrod, the architect of the Tower of Babel, to Abraham, who taught them to the Egyptians, including Euclid, who in turn taught masonry to the children of the nobility as an instructive discipline. The craft is then taught to the children of Israel from the Temple of Solomon. Obviously, they just repurposed the biblical narrative to fit their own. But what they're saying is, this knowledge was passed down in the form of 7 sacred sciences. The 7 liberal arts, traditionally divided into the trivium, grammar, rhetoric, and logic, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. They formed the basis of education in ancient Greece and Rome. According to Freemasonic lore, the children of Cain wrote down these 7 liberal arts on pillars of stone, then was picked up by the great philosophers of Greece, Pythagoras and Hermes, then passed down to the children of Israel and was taught in the Temple of Solomon. And remember, this was knowledge from before the flood that was written down and after the flood picked back up. Of course, it's speculation on what this mark actually was. What was the mark of Cain? Could it have been illumination? So when Cain says, hey, the punishment is greater than I can bear, did God say, wait a second, I will give you a token, and it's 7-fold. That way, you'll be able to provide shelter for yourself. You'll know geometry. You'll know the signs of the heavens, the constellations, the zodiac, and grammar, rhetoric. You'll know all these things, and that'll give you a fighting chance out there in the world, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And let's not forget about the arts themselves. When you look back at ancient civilizations and you're wondering where writing emerges, where metallurgy was invented, it's all concentrated in a certain geographic area. And we're told writing is thought to have been independently invented in different ancient civilizations. The earliest known writing systems emerged in Sumer, ancient Mesopotamia, around 3500 BCE. The Sumerians developed cuneiform script on clay tablets. In ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs appeared around the same time. Genesis chapter 9, verse 12. And God said, "This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in a cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth." And the ark landed on the summit of Mount Ararat. And we all know the story about Noah. He drank the wine after he planted a vineyard. He was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers. Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, went in backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall you be unto your brothers. Now, is it a coincidence that before the flood, we have the curse of Cain, and immediately after the flood, we have the curse of Canaan? I don't know, but there is something with the name. You can almost just take a look at the map and see that just like the Freemasons of modern time, the Hebrews understood the assignment. When you look at all these places on the map, you'll see Ashur, Canaan, Sidon, where these are actually names of places. So after the flood, God tells Noah, I'm going to give you a sign, a token of the covenant between me, you, and all the living things with you. It's that Hebrew word, oath. Again, the same mark, the same sign that God gave Cain. Ham goes in and sees Noah naked after he was drunk. Noah wakes up, he realizes what happened. He says, Cursed be Canaan. So Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, which is very interesting. Go back through my channel and look into my mythology playlist. You'll find videos on Cadmus and Europa, which is very interesting because Cadmus was a prince of Sidon. He was a Phoenician prince who, by the Greeks, came over, he founded a city called Thebes, right, and built a big citadel called the Cadmea. Also, they attribute their alphabet as coming from Cadmus. Cadmus brought over techniques of building, founded a great city, and gave them the alphabet. So I'm sure you've heard of Baalbek before. Located in Lebanon, it's home to impressive megalithic structures. The most notable are the ruins of the Roman temple complex. This site features massive stone blocks with some of the largest weighing several hundred tons. The precise methods of how these enormous stones were quarried, transported, and placed remain subjects of historical speculation. But local legend has it that the foundations of Baalbek was built by Cain in a fit of rage before the flood. We also have a connection with the names. Cain, Canaan, and the land of Canaan. I've heard theories about the mark of Cain being a dog. God gave him a dog. Maybe there's some truth to that. We have Canis Major, the constellation, with the brightest star in the constellation, Sirius, the dog star. The knowledge of the heavens, the stars, and constellations was also used for navigation for the Phoenicians and also others. So I ask you, what was this mark that God gave to Cain and to Noah that allowed future generations, these civilizations, to grow and prosper in the way that they did? Unfortunately, I have to leave you with that question, but don't worry, we will circle back. This is one of my favorite topics. In the meantime, I want to thank you for watching. If you would, please like the video, share this out, leave me a comment down below, let me know how I'm doing. This is so ancient, you can call me the Saint. Thank you for your time. And don't forget to subscribe.
Let's dance.